in many ways. And so we had to write a very malleable tune.
Now let's hear the theme song of the Carousel Theater.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
Well, it sounds pretty good. In fact, that's just the right spirit. East meets West. It's a small world, and that's the name of our latest attraction at Disneyland.
Small World was actually a problem song because we had to solve the problem that was happening at the conception of the ride.
Its stars are the children of the world. Every land from A to Z, from Asia to Zululand is represented.
And he said, I want this little boat ride with children. And we thought, oh my God, we just finished doing Mr. Lincoln, you know, an animatronic figure that stands up and talks. We just did the Carousel of Progress, all this. And he wants a little boat ride. So we all just kind of thought, wow, that's kind of strange.
From sketches and finished drawings, these scale models were constructed. Then by our electronic process, which we call audio animatronics, they were given voice and movement.
There was an explosion of creativity that took place because once we got the sets built, we had to bring them over to the studio, put them in a sound stage for each one of the areas, put Walt in a boat on wheels, and push him through at the same speed that the boat ride would be, so he could look at everything, and then he would give us a buy-off.
So we were brought in to write a singular song that would be simple enough to translate into many languages and have a singular thought involved.
During our voyage, we'll visit more than 100 lands. Let's see how many we can identify.
My understanding is throughout the world that other than the people kind of kid about the fact the music drives them nuts, it's still probably one of the most popular rides of all because, see, this was Walt's secret. He touched everybody with everything that he did.
You know, I really loved finding words that Walt Disney said that when he did them, they were really magic. For example, you think the word things is very simple and, you know, doesn't mean anything. But when Walt said, now the pirates are going to burn and sack the town, and then we're going to do some exciting things.
The whole Caribbean area was full of pirates, and they were always sacking towns and things, little shops and things, and live plants and things, and the parade of the toys and a lot of other things.
And kind of threw it away. You said, what's he talking about? He just talked about burning and sacking the town, and then he's saying, we're going to really do some exciting things. It was just, it painted a word picture that you couldn't, I mean, it didn't mean anything when it was on paper, but when he did it, it was magic.
Well, you know, Walt Disney didn't invent fun, but he kind of perfected it. I think Walt taught us that it's okay to be childlike. You don't have to be childish, but it's okay to be childlike on occasion.
For the fields we go, laughing all the way.
You know you're on television. Howdy, folks. Well, I don't know about you folks, but it's way past my bedtime, and morning comes around early. And that's one of my favorite times here, too. . '
We would be out here in the Frontierland area, right over here by Riverbell Terrace, and Walt would suddenly come out. He would appear, and he would walk over to the dock area of the Mark Twain, and he would just stand there, you know, and he would look out across the rivers of America, looking out at Tom Sawyer's Island. And we always used to wonder, what was he doing out there? We'd see him many times in that same location.
We knew that he was sick and was over in the hospital there, but nobody knew how really sick he was. I remember the day he died, John Hench came back to my office, and we were reminiscing and about the old days, because most of the people there didn't know Walt, hadn't had a chance to work with him. And we were talking about it, you know, and it was on the 15th of December, I remember very vividly, because that was the day I usually went out and bought my Christmas tree. So at noon, they said, we're closing the studio, closing Imagineering. And I remember going home and I did stop and get my Christmas tree. But when I got home, it really hit me, and I just sat in my room and I just bawled like a baby. This was just, the man is gone, you know. I just cried and cried and cried.
It took everybody by surprise, including my father. He didn't know that he had lung cancer until, I would say, about 8 weeks before he died.
Someone called me at home, and I rushed out to the park just in time to see the flag go down on Main Street, which was a chilling moment. And when I walked in, all the employees were kind of in a state of disbelief. The word had gone out that Walt would probably have wanted the park to be open, so we were struggling to keep the park open that day.
Well, we lost the spirit. It's what's really sad. The day that Walt passed away, everybody that worked for Disney Studios or any part of Disney felt they worked directly for him, and so everybody lost him. Everybody did. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And so, you know, you didn't have a father image. You didn't have a leader anymore. I mean, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible because I don't know, there was just something about him that when you came to work, you were going to work for Walt. You know, you just weren't going to work you weren't going to a job. You were going to work for Walt. And I think he was in everyone's heart. And so it was horrible. It was horrible. It's like Ollie Johnson said, and most of us did. They cried all night. Sad.
As much as I love Walt Disney, about 2 days after he passed away and said, hey, we have to move on.
And what he was trying to do was use all the people, brilliant people that worked for him, and he knew how bright they were, better than you or me or anybody.
Walt had put together a very strong and creative team. And they were all intelligent people, and they learned from their experience of working with Walt.
Walt Disney only saw this one park, and only for like 11 years.
Life went on real quick.
We lost sinew and blood, but we didn't lose spirit and love.
Trying to define Disneyland is very difficult.
It's the only one of the parks that Walt actually walked in.
Disneyland is huggable.
It is indeed that. It is huggable.